Yes, sir. So I caught this segment from the Real Talk, the knockoff of The View and all of these other shows with liberals talking about nothing. They basically talking about this man that won a discrimination lawsuit for being white, quote unquote. And I already know radical women and all the liberal lunatics, they're going to be pissed. Let's check it out.
First up, the state of North Carolina has many people scratching their heads as a jury awarded $10 million to a white former health executive for reverse discrimination. According to Fox 46 Charlotte, Duvall, a white man, was the senior vice president for marketing and communications at Novant for 5 years when he was fired and replaced by two women, one a racial minority. During a diversity and inclusion initiative in 20...
Let's unpack that real quick. They said, remember, they're going to emphasize white. You know what I mean? So we got a white man out of North Carolina that's basically in a high position, working there for 5 years and whatnot. And he got let go for two hires, two women, one sister and one Caucasian. How are you going to hire two people to fill one position? Two women. You didn't hire a woman and a man. You hired two women to replace him. You didn't replace him with just a Caucasian woman with more experience who knows what she's going to do, basically. You basically replaced the man for inclusion hires. Then you hired the sister because she's a diversity hire. So in all honesty, what was the move made for? They talk about reverse discrimination. There's no such thing. Saying something like that is basically saying we only expect people of color to be discriminated against.
18 that included explicit goals to remake the demographics of Novant's senior leadership. According to his attorney, a jury in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Charlotte, North Carolina division decided that Duvall, stating in court records that Duvall proved that his race, Caucasian, and or his sex, male, was a motivating factor in Novant's health decision to terminate him. So he's saying he lost his job because he was a white man. Ladies, please weigh in on this. Does diversity include white people, first thing? And how seriously do you think companies take complaints of discrimination?
I mean, let's be clear.
Isn't diversity supposed to include all? I'm lost here. Like I said, these liberals, these radicals, they're trying to take down the man. They want the man to do everything for them and get out of the way. Diversity include white people, quote unquote. They just told you that the man's race was Caucasian, yet you're so programmed and conditioned, you're still calling him white. We got to understand that these are social statuses. Being called white and black, there's no such thing. That's why we always hear about white this, black that, yada yada. Goes nowhere.
He just got $10 million, right? I feel like there's some checks waiting to come our way because how many times we did not get the job? How many times we weren't the ones chosen?
Yes.
Is there a check coming?
How many times did any of you prove that you were discriminated against? How many times do you, Garcelle, know that somebody hired a lawyer and won a case? Do you know anybody that even pursued a lawsuit? It's like we're just going off hearsay. Everybody's regurgitating the same things. Well, I know I went to an interview and I know that I didn't have a chance. Why did you go to the interview then? If you knew that you didn't have a chance, why would you go?
Because we should have one. I think what's interesting is that the fact that it's a woman, the fact that it was a black woman as well, is really interesting. But I don't know if diversity includes white people because the whole diverseness is normally for urban, Asian, Hispanic. I don't know if it includes it. Like,
Well,
I
let me
really
tell
had a hard
you.
time trying to figure that out.
Well,
Marcel.
diversity means. Go ahead.
I was like, Lonnie's either going to tell us or I have the textbook dictionary
Go ahead.
meaning. So the practice or quality of including or involving people from a range of different social and ethnic backgrounds and of different genders, sexual orientations, etc. So it's different. That is the point. So I don't see white as being included
That's
in
what I'm
diversity.
saying.
How do you not see them being included when they're different from you, you bozo? These radical women, bro, do not make any sense whatsoever. But they're on the daytime talking about this to brainwash senior citizens and younger women. Nothing more, nothing less. If you're including Different people, that includes quote unquote white people, because they are different. And they are the people that you are actually searching for validation from. Let's be honest. Be real with yourself, please.
No, because if it's different, it depends on what the majority is. So
Right.
if
There's
you
that.
hire and the majority, look.
But in this case with this company,
In this case with this company,
That's where diversity-
is what there's two problems here. One is not reverse discrimination; it's just discrimination. Okay.
Okay, Lonnie Love on her bull today. Time out. We might have to run this back because you see she's trying to talk and make sense. And this bozo who swears she knows everything, Jeannie Mai or whatever, that this dude Jeezy wanted to knock up. She's always trying to talk about everything because she's so aware, she's so woke and whatnot. This is the same chick that said racism has no hierarchy. Just remember that, sisters. When you want to have these conversations with all of these different groups, they don't really care about you.
I don't see white as being included
That's
in
what I'm
diversity.
saying.
No, because if it's different, it depends on what the majority is. So
Right.
There's
if you
that.
hire and the majority, look.
But in this case with this company,
In this case with this company,
That's where diversity-
is what there's two problems here. One is not reverse discrimination; it's just discrimination. Okay, you get discriminated.
Right.
Number one, they hired two women to replace one man. I got a problem with that. Number two,
because one woman could have done the job.
exactly.
It doesn't take-
Evidently not one woman could do it because they would have hired one woman, but they had to make a diversity hire also. But let me let Lonnie speak because she seems to be the only one making sense here.
Women
that tells you
to
about
do-
inequality. That we ain't gonna even get on
Right.
that, okay? But also, this is diversity through firing instead of diversity through hiring. That is the main problem.
Yeah.
So of course, this man has a right because he was actually over the marketing. If you look at his pedigree was great.
Yeah.
You know, they could not give in the court the court files. They could not give an excuse of why.
They
just
fired
said,
him.
"Oh, we're gonna let
Right.
it be known." So you're gonna have cases like this
Come up.
if you don't hire diverse. You
In
can't
the first
fire
place.
diverse in
You
the first
can't
place.
fire someone
Right.
in order to bring in diversity, is what you're saying. You're saying
Exactly.
add to the situation, don't take away from
Exactly.
the situation.
Right.
When we had affirmative action, this is when we were actually diversifying our corporations.
Yeah.
Now they're trying to figure out ways to do it. And so they're going to have these issues of people getting sued and getting a lot of money because you can't do that.
Right.
Any court of law is going to look at them and go,
Yeah.
no, you cannot do that.
I
You
think a
can't
lot of
fire
people
me."
are
Yeah, I
about
agree.
this specifically because how many times have we seen
That's
Latinos,
what I'm
Asians,
saying.
Black people that are minorities complaining about, the exact same thing. I ain't seen none of them get $10 million.
Right.
Right.
We haven't seen any of them actually pursue lawsuits. Like, where are the stories? Where are, where are the receipts? I know women love receipts. Where are they? We're just talking in circles. Who knows somebody that got discriminated against? He knew that because of whatever he was, and then went and hired a lawyer. Nobody. What they do is they go on Twitter, they go on Instagram and whatnot, make a post, have everybody complain, give them some pity and whatnot, say the same thing happened to me, and now I guess we could go ahead and get drunk or high together. You feel me? Come on, bro. Nobody's really taking action. They're just talking about it, turning on the TV, seeing the liberal media talk about the same nonsense, discrimination, affirmative action. You got to give this person a chance because he's this, that, and the third. All this shows is that people need to create for themselves. People need to get with like-minded people and build from there. Stop complaining for a position if the person doesn't want to give it to you. That doesn't make any sense, bro. That's like people wanting to be in a party that you weren't invited to. Like, go about your business.
It was a case, it wasn't about hiring, but it was a black employee from Tesla, got the $137 million for
geez.
racial discrimination. So
That is good to know.
it's
That is good to
happening.
know.
That is
It's-
What does that make you feel better now that somebody won for racial discrimination? I'm gonna have to check out that story. That's the first time I'm hearing about it, but let's be honest. Come on, man. This just shows you that liberals, these radical women, they don't really care about the moral code and whatnot. They only want to ride with what suits their feelings. That's all it's about. I feel like this shit. I feel, but I feel. It's not about that.
happening.
And it's going to keep happening.
Because
Exactly.
I think it's important for people to hear that because I didn't know that. And I think a lot of the times, especially as minorities, we're afraid to speak up because we're afraid that if we say, I felt that, somebody was discriminating against me because of my whatever it is, and we don't speak up because we need our jobs.
Right.
Now, let me ask.
All right, so then on one end, you want to talk about where the checks coming our way, yada, yada, yada. And then you want to say, quote unquote, minorities are scared to speak up. So which one is it? How can you expect checks if you're scared to speak up?
In response to this, because this is an actual fact out there too, more than half of whites, 55%, say that they, generally speaking, feel that there is a discrimination against white people in America today.
Which is why you have to have policies.
Yes.
And the policies, I think the best way that we were actually attacking diversity is by looking at the population, looking at seeing how many do you have here, what's the percentage of that. So then you look at a company and say, do you even have this type of percentage? So that would help. That's what
That would help
affirmative
from the
action was
get-go.
about. Exactly.
Start off with having
When you're
a diversified
building
company.
your company and you're
Right.
building your corporate, how important it is to look at that and that you're hiring that way.
That pretty much sums it up, bruh. But we already know, man. Check the temperature, bro. There's going to be a good amount of Caucasians that are going to be feeling discriminated against because when they turn on the TV, all they see and hear is how terrible they are. It's neither here nor there, man. I'm out.